Hi, so this week I selected Trombone Shorty, which is the 2016 Coretta Scott King Book Awards Illustrator winner. So, Trombone Shorty is written by Troy Andrews and is illustrated by Brian Collier. It was published by Abrams Books for Young Readers in 2015. It is appropriate for ages 4 to 8. So this story follows Troy, otherwise known as Trombone Shorty Andrews, which is also, if you noticed, the author of this book. So he grew up in New Orleans, in a neighborhood that, most of the people there didn't have a lot of money. And he mentioned that he noticed that New Orleans, wherever you went, you could always hear music. But he especially loved to listen to the brass bands. So eventually, Troy and his friends decided that they were going to make their own band. But, Troy, he really couldn't afford to buy a new trombone. He really didn't have the resources to get one. One day, he stumbled upon a broken one. It had seen its time, it had done what it needed to do. Wasn't the best, didn't sound the best, but either way, he still used it to practice, to get better, and he appreciated it, and he played it proudly, He didn't care that it wasn't the best, he was using it to better his music, and that's kind of how he got the nickname Trombone Shorty, because the trombone was twice his size. So I mentioned he worked hard to learn how to play it, and he really got his first break at this jazz festival in New Orleans when this big, well-known, jazz musician, Bo Diddley, heard him playing in the crowd. Trombone Shorty had brought his trombone and was just casually playing it in the crowd. And he's like, "Who is that?" And, his mom held him up and was like, "It's this Trombone Shorty." And he brought him up on stage, and then, it really, enforced that what he was doing was the right track. He started his own band, eventually joined his older brother's band, and now he's traveling around the world with with his own professional band, doing what he loves. So, main theme, perseverance, hard work, will get you really far in life. He practiced all the time, He didn't just get good overnight. It took a lot of practice, not having the best trombone didn't matter to him. He was still going to practice. He was still going to work to be the great trombone player that he is today. Brian Collier's illustrations, I think, do a great job of capturing the energy, not only, of New Orleans, but of, the jazz community. And this is one of my favorite pictures, because in some of them you'll notice that among the illustrations, they've actually included what looks like pictures, like the balloons look realistic. That looks like maybe to be a picture of Troy Andrews. But I feel like he really captured the spirit of New Orleans. And, and it has, some pops of color in there, but they're nothing too bright, too offensive, it doesn't really, it's not like it's like, wow, that's your main focus, but you just see these little bright pops of color like the house, and it just really, I think, brings attention to some details in the pictures. So I think this is a great book for children. I think one of the purpose, is to, again, show that anything's possible. He didn't grow up really in the best of circumstances. He didn't let that get him down. He still went out, worked hard, didn't let his circumstances define him. And I think that's what the story is really about. So with this story, I would do a point of view exercise. First, I would have the kids identify who's telling the point of view the story is being told from. Obviously, Trombone Shorty. And then I think it would be interesting to have them kind of do a point of view swap. So then have the children tell the point of view from another character. And I would suggest, they could do either one, but I would suggest that they do it from his mother. during the festival, you know, where he gets taken up on stage. I think that would be a really good one. You know, we know she's there. We know she's the one that held him up to get recognized to get on stage. So I think it'd be cool just to see how the kids think, you know, what she was thinking. You know, was she proud of him? You know, just what they think his mother thought of him playing the trombone. I think this is a great book, and as you can see, it is also a Caldecott Honor book. So, quite the award winner. So go check it out.